Alright, this is one of those videos that I wish I had started earlier, but I didn't. I came over here because this tub valve was leaking. That's very common for these particular type tub valves, three-handle variety, and when you turn them on and off, they squeak. They have that horrible squeak. A lot of times it's the trim that goes on it, so inevitably the water runs. What actually a lot of people don't realize is it runs out of here. It runs through this trim, which covers it, which causes it to run into the handle and then back out of the handle onto this part here or the tub floor. And a lot of times, as a result, because of that, it can inevitably run back into the interior behind the tub wall. So the reason for this, though, is I was able to take a little specialized tool, little wrenchy, sockety thing, and it was a struggle to get it on this one because these holes don't line up perfectly. The holes that were cut in the tub don't line up perfectly with the splines of the nut, or the flats rather. This was obviously no problem, fit right on there. In fact, I've already loosened both of these. However, you absolutely cannot. You get this device through the hole, barely, but it will not line up with the nut. And so what I had to do was take my hacksaw and gently, I got a 16 tooth cut. Once you get used to those puppies, they're really a joy to use for as a hacksaw goes. Much better than a more controlled, more precise than any Sawzall, which I own a couple as well. But what I'm going to have to do here is, the reason I cut that is so that it would accommodate the cavity of this hole saw, which I'm using. I've removed the pilot, which is approximately the same diameter of the hole that was drilled in it to begin with. But what I'm going to do is it's going to take both hands, and I'm going to take and just narrow out a little bit on the bottom, and then come back and narrow a little bit on the side, which hopefully will enable this tool to do its job and reach that nut. Because right now I'm committed. The water is turned off. These nuts are broken loose. I have a new trim kit and pack that's all ready to go. Don't really want to focus on that too long, but it's got to fit. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is not the ideal time to start this project. Having the parts is half the battle. Getting this trim off, getting it to this point was the other half of the battle. It should be now as simple as unscrewing a light bulb, and if I can do this with one hand, open that pack, screwing a new light bulb back into place. That's what I'm hoping it will do. And that's so smooth that the shaft of that puppy will not, but seem to go right in there. So perfect. So this is going to be a joy. They can be a nightmare, absolutely can. So that's one of the other purposes for this video, is that if the worst thing happens to you, that ultimately you would have to go on the other side of this wall. You'd either have to leave the water off or go and address the issue from the rear side. A lot of times there's an access. Just as often there isn't. You'll have to cut a nice neat hole in the sheetrock. Recommend about a 12 by 16 or 18 at least, because if you cut it smaller you'll make it bigger and then you'll have to replace 2 pieces of sheetrock. So go ahead and take out more than you need to give you room to work and for your tools to get in to do the job, but you'll either have to replace that tub valve or remove it, address it, repair it, and replace it. And if you're going to do all that, this thing's 40 years old. I'm pouring new parts in it because we can do it from this side. If there were any other aspect to this valve, if it were leaking at all on the backside, yes, from that point we'd just completely replace it, put them a new valve in with a warranty for roughly the same price as trying to address the aforementioned issues. But in this particular case, I can't record and run the drill at the same time, and this rascal camera, if I put it on pause, it won't hold its position until I'm done. It'll just end the block. So I'm gonna just go ahead and end it. But roughly that's what I run into every once in a while. What should take me 30 minutes takes me an hour and 30 minutes. Not so much because of the video, but that's just what we run into. Several trips to go get more stuff to accomplish what shouldn't have been addressed when it was installed. It should have been installed with the repair anticipated. And that means for a service technician like me to be able to get to the repair aspects. It's coming to being enforced and recognized in code, but not for the past 20 years. And there's so much in existence that it'll last me the rest of my career. But it's kind of hoping it helps somebody understand this is not really what I would anticipate or expect somebody to try to do themselves. I wouldn't steer my worst enemy towards. I hate a 3-handle tub valve. Once again, they can be an absolute nightmare. And you come in, I expect the worst and hope for the best. That's how we treat each and every one. But this one, I think it's going to cooperate. Thanks for watching.